Welcome, everyone, to episode 11 of the Phoenix Report. I'm Jack Connor. This is going to be an interesting episode, and you heard the last one. I interviewed Stephen James from Dare Defy. I'd kind of known him a little bit, mainly because, like I said, mentioned in that episode, he was a buddy of Ryan's, Ryan from Vertebreakers, I should say, and we talked about his band Dare Defy. And my guest today was interesting. He and we had met a couple times. He had approached me about doing something, and again, I hadn't really known him too well, although we had met before, and I'll definitely go into that as we go along. But he had, he is in a new band. A band that's relatively new, I should say. I believe, and I'll have to have him correct me on this later, but I believe he has his first show coming up. Next week, if he hasn't already had his first show, I'll have to ask him about that. Interesting story about this guy. He's definitely been around for a while, but the band itself is new. His band is called Bloodlines, and I don't really know too much about them because they're obviously just starting out. But I figured this would be an interesting opportunity to do something different, to put the spotlight on a brand new band, a brand new band that's kind of coming up and about to sort of make their debut and kind of put their feet in the water and sort of test everything out. Interesting thing about this guy, I had known him through David Marfitt from Breathing Theory, a good mutual friend of ours. And about a year ago, Vertebreaker was in between drummers, and this guy was actually one of the several drummers who auditioned for the band. And I gotta tell you, he almost made it. He was really good. We ended up going with Jarrett, obviously, but we really liked this guy, and we got along with him great, and now he's got his own thing going on. He's in a band called Bloodlines, and I believe they're having their first show next week at is either the Boondocks. I'll have to. I feel so embarrassed about that. He sent me the flyer to it, and I don't remember exactly what the date is and what the place is, but I'm sure I'll let him explain it to him just right from the horse's mouth. So without further ado, here is the drummer for Bloodlines and a really cool guy, John McGinnis. What's up, man?
How you doing, man? How you doing?
Doing good. I hope the intro I didn't leave too much out. I'm so embarrassed. When is your next show coming up?
Our first show actually is going to be on September 12th. It's a 2-day concert over at Bombshells in Orlando, and the tickets are on. Is kind of like a at the door thing. Quote me on it. I believe they're like either $10 to $15, but it's a 2-day thing, and there's like you could buy a 2-day pass or a 1-day pass. But yeah, that's our first show out there at Bombshells in Orlando, and There's like numerous bands. I can't even remember all of them. There's so many of them. Like I say, it's a 2-day concert, so that's our first show, definitely.
Now what dates are these, John?
All right. Well, the first day is the 12th, and the 13th is the second day.
Okay, so September 12th through 13th at Bombshells in Orlando. Are you playing both days?
No, actually, we're playing the first day around 8 o'clock, I believe. We're playing, or 6:30, between 6:30 and 8. They kind of like, it's a rough estimate because there's so many bands. They had a couple people drop out, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but we'll see. Other than that, that's our first show. But we do have numerous shows coming up besides that one too.
Okay, cool. I know you have something going on at was it at the Haven?
Yeah, at the Haven we have a show. That's our actually latest show. Actually, is we have one with Angel Vivaldi.
That's right. He's like a new hotshot instrumental guitarist, right?
Yeah, and if y'all know who Angel Vivaldi is, he's like the guitar wizard. He's a great musician. I mean, he's awesome.
Gotcha. And that's coming up pretty soon, right?
Yeah, October 17th. Yes.
Yeah, Angel Vivaldi. For those of you who don't know, and I found out about him because of you, John. It was he's more of like a Yngwie Malmsteen or Steve Vai, but for the modern era. He has that like low-tuned, I guess they call it gent or degent, or it's like a new, very heavy, down-tuned style of like metal.
I mean, there's so many terms nowadays, for so
Yeah, I almost feel like there are too many little subgenres and categories, and it's I don't know. I think people get a little too carried away with that, don't you think?
yeah,
But yeah, back to what you said. I mean, I guess he's more of like one of those guitar heroes like Satriani or whatever, but with that new modern style, sort of a blend of those guitar legends with a band like, say, Animals as Leaders. Would you think that would be a pretty fair comparison?
yeah. He is an instrumental band. I mean, first off, there's no singer, and just the guitar, just the singing. I mean, it's a beautiful. I mean, some of the songs he has are just outstanding. And like I said, I mean, he's a guitar wizard, and he's awesome, man. He's very good, and I actually just recently heard of him myself. Actually, I mean, about a couple months ago, I've heard of Angel, and when the guys came to me and said, "Hey, we have an opportunity to play a big show," say that's like, well, what's this big show? And they say Angel Vivaldi. I'm like, oh my God, really? No way. So we have an opportunity to do this, and like, yeah. I said, would you able to do that? It's like, well, I got vacation time at work. We're definitely doing it.
That's awesome, man. I'm so glad that you guys are like being able to get gigs like that almost like right out of the gate. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and I mean the tickets are right now. We have tickets for sale for this too. They're $12 in advance and they're $15 at the day of show. At the door. So I mean, if you guys if you need any, you always just give us a hit up on Facebook and we can get you to them somehow. So that's always available.
Definitely, man. Sounds like I guess I forgot to mention I mentioned Animals as Leaders, but I guess you could probably compare him to John Five as well in terms of his playing and his look.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. John Five and Animals Leaders, definitely.
But yeah, man, I mean, it's one of those things. To have a gig like that so early on is really just a cool opportunity for you and the band to really put yourselves out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big opportunity for us too. To get our name out there and people can hear what we're all about, and and like find out a little bit about us too.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. Now, I mean, obviously, Bloodlines is a new thing, but it's not your first band, is it? I mean, you've been around for a little while, haven't you? I mean, you've been in some other bands before, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I was in a couple awesome bands. Like I can say from the beginning here, this is my first band that we actually played around here in this area was a band called Burn It All. It originally or the name was going to be Core Agenda, like the Core Agenda, but we decided to go with Burn It All, and we played.
Man, with a name like Burn It All, I'm guessing there aren't too many mellow ballads being thrown in there.
Oh no, actually, we actually had a pretty good, like, it was thrashy. Like, say our bass player Colin, he was a big Megadeth fan, and Iron Maiden fan. So he had his bass playing was really boomy, really stuck out, and plus he was just obnoxiously loud too because he was a bass player and he had to turn up loud as he could.
Yeah, of course,
of course.
Yeah, that's what we do. I've been one, so I know.
Oh yeah, we're all like that. But well yeah, and we had a couple other people that were in the band too that were still in other bands too after that too. I had a friend of mine, Drew. He was in Robots in the Sky, I think it was called. Yeah, he was in that band, and he was actually our guitar player at the time in that in Burn It All. And then we have friend Mike and Kevin Marr, from Jesus Penises.
Wow.
Yeah, Kevin. Kevin, the bass player. He was actually in that band.
Really?
And he was in another band.
Yeah. By the way, Jesus' Penises. I can only imagine what those shows must be like.
It's definitely a shock rock, kind of like Gwar, kind of shock rock kind of band. Definitely.
With a name like that, I guess you would have to be. So, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Kevin was in the band with us, and because after we had an issue with one of our bass player, and he ended up leaving, going somewhere, and we had Kevin fill in, which was our guitar player Chris's brother. So we had some family, and we had a little tight thing, we played birthdays, we played shows all around town, some Orlando and Daytona. We played up in Daytona at the Seabreeze Metal Lounge a couple times. We got around, and it just eventually everybody went separate ways on that project. It was just kind of like Okay.
Okay, so Burn It All was like, was that kind of your first band that played out, or was there anything that happened before that?
No, that was like the first band I started really playing out with and stuff like that. But we after Burn It All, it was I didn't do nothing for quite a while. But then I've always knew David Marfit, for a while. Me and him go way back, from when he first turned 21, or stuff like that. I mean, we've been together for a long time. He's like a brother to me. He lives here with me at my house, and we're family. He comes to all my family events. So automatically I was going to start a band with this man because I knew how great of a guitar player he was. Actually he played, because he was a guitar player when we met up, and we knew each other for years. I knew he played guitar, and he knew I played drums. And one day we were like, hey, why don't we just jam one day? And then we got together and we jammed it, and made his girlfriend's jaw like drop the ground. Like, you guys just like make us up on the spot, and it's like amazing. So we started, and we really started getting into the whole band thing. And actually, Dave left to go back out of town. He had some family situations had to go take care of, so he went back to Jersey for a while, or Connecticut, Jersey's area, Mount Holly, where he's from. And then he eventually come back, and I reached out to him. I said, hey, I just happen to have a band spot in Orlando, right by the Haven, off of Forsyth's there, and there's a little gun range there. I had a practice spot. It's pretty sweet. And I said, I got this practice spot, and I got a job opening where I'm working at. You're gonna come live with me. We're gonna make a band. We're gonna play shows, and we're gonna do all this, and it's gonna be badass. And sure enough, and that's what we started doing, and we formed a band known as Burn Until Death, because we had some members from which we actually did the singer, and we had the bass player, and me too, from Burn It All. We're actually in this band, and Dave was clear. So we decided to mix a little bit of name up, because we were going to call ourselves Until Death, and we were joking around, saying, hey, we'll just call ourselves Burn Until Death, because we have so many people from the band already from all Burn It All here. We're like, jokingly, hey, it sounds good, let's do it,
Yeah, kind of a mashup of two names. I like that. Let's see, Burn It All, Burn Until Death. I'm sensing kind of a theme here.
Yeah, actually, there's a lot of fire in my names of bands I'm always in. So we played shows. We did a couple shows. We played over at Orlando. We played a couple down here, and then it kind of just went separate ways, as a couple of bands do. Dave started to make interest in Path to Prevail.
Oh, of course.
And if you heard of Path to Prevail and you saw them live, Dave, one hell of a vocalist.
Yeah, I never actually got to see Dave perform live with Path to Prevail, but I knew. I mean, obviously they did a lot of really cool things, like the Mayhem Fest in Tampa, and he talked about that a lot on his episode, the interview I did with him. But yeah, that does leave me kind of curious. Obviously, he's busy with Breathing Theory now. That's his main thing. You've got Bloodlines. Do you ever see a time where you and him, being as close as you are, might do something together in the future?
Well, I mean, that goes back to the Path to Prevail thing, because we had Burn Until Death, and Dave was really wanted to do the singing thing with Path to Prevail, and we were trying to reform Burn Until Death, get some different members, but it just he really wanted to do this Path to Prevail thing. So we said, chase it, dude, go for it. You want to be a singer, just go ahead and do it. And then I went off and I joined a band called which we didn't have a name at the time. We kind of made this band. It was we were called Lit Up.
Oh, really? Yeah, I know those guys.
Lit Up.
Yeah, I've gone to see them play before. It was right around when I first moved to the area. I remember seeing them live. I might have seen you with them.
Over at the 321 Local?
No, it wasn't at the 321 Local. It was at the sports page.
I don't know. I don't think we did, actually. That might have been after I was in that band.
Oh, okay.
Because they did a short run after I left.
Oh, really? Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, there's some swell guys in that band. Danny, the singer, he was really awesome. He was a really awesome guy. TJ, the guitar player, he's just, when I first met him, he was he towered over me, and he just wailed on his guitar like Dimebag Darrell. I mean, yeah, man, he was just a monster. He was like, dude, you're huge. Look at you. I thought I was tall. I'm a tall guy. And he just like he towered over me. I'm like, you were a monster, dude. Wow. And you play guitar? It makes it look like a toothpick in his hand, you know. He's wailed on that thing. And we had Randy the bass player, but he was a great bass player, slap bass, you know. And we played shows. We actually recorded out in Orlando at a studio with Jay Stanley. He did Creed, Seven Dust, and Matchbox 20's first album all there in this studio, and we had the opportunity to record in this studio, which was really cool. You know what I mean? And we did a demo, and I still have some stuff on my computer. And we played a couple shows, played with Psycho Stick, you know, and the band we ended up having some differences in like music choice and stuff like that, and we ended up parting ways with me, and they got another drummer, and they moved on to even do some even other shows, win some battle of bands, and played with Seven Dust, I believe, one time. So, you know, I was really happy, and I actually filled in with them because they were in between a drummer again, and they really asked me to, hey, Ken, you know we had our differences, but can you still step in and help us out? I'm like, yeah, not a problem, man. I'd love to.
That is just so refreshing.
You know, and we went back
because a lot of guys can't really separate sort of the business from the personal, and a lot of guys would have been upset about that, but you were able to be the bigger man and be like, okay, well, even though things didn't work out, I still respect you, and you know, I'll still be able to help you out if you need me to. That really is the sign of a true professional.
Well, yeah, I mean, some people have like, you know, they take. Sometimes you got to take this band stuff as a business. You know what I mean? People get fired from their jobs because, you know, it's a right to work state here in Florida, and you come to work, you know, wearing the wrong hairdo and get fired on the spot. You know, but unlike that, you know, every band I always been in, we always have, you know, that family. You know, band of brothers, you know, that's what we are. So, you know, I mean, I'll scratch your back, you scratch my back. How we do this, man. We're going to play shows. We're going to come out there. We're going to rock out. And we lit up. We were like kind of like that bar band. Come out. We played bar tunes. We're heavy. You know, we had some cool melodic song. I mean, not too melodic, but we had one song I thought was really neat at the end of the set. And of course, you know, after I left, I ended up, you know, kind of hanging around for a while. And all of a sudden, Dave comes up to me. This is around when my father was real ill. He had cancer. He had colon cancer, and he ended up passing away. And after that, the guys from Another Life Spared, Kevin Rufo, their drummer, he was actually about to go out on tour because he played with Breeding Theory at the time. Yeah, he was actually he did two bands, and he went out on tour with Breeding Theory, and Another Life Spared didn't want to slow down their pace, and they had shows booked. They wanted to keep going. And he's like, what about a fill-in drummer? David Marfitt, again, threw my name out there and said, hey, John McGinnis, he's your man. And they got in contact with me, and I said, right now it's a hard time right now because my father, he was ill. But then after they passed away, you know, they contacted me again and said, hey, you know, how are you doing? You know, they reached out to me, hope everything's well. And they're like, I really appreciate that. So I reached out to them, say, you know, how are you guys doing? You know, can you fill in for us? Can you come in and maybe learn some more songs? Can you come in and, you know, maybe play some shows? I'm like, you know, I would really like that, you know, get my mind back on track. So, you know, and my father, he always went to every show I ever did, you know. So it was like you know, I'm gonna do this for Dad. So I went out and I learned their set, and we played Chris Marsh's, you know, big metal festival, his birthday bash over at County Line. Played 321. We played with Straight Line Stitch actually over at 321. And so, you know, I did a couple shows with No Life Spared, and I really enjoyed that. And Kevin came back into the band, you know, and that was that. And you know, pretty much after that was just I was kind of like hanging out, you know, doing some air drumming here and there, and you know, just had a couple little guys I would kind of, you know, jam with, and you know, and they kind of flaked off. You know, they weren't really serious about doing anything. I was always trying to get another band started because I wanted to get back behind that drum set and have the best seat in the house. You know what I mean? See the stage from the other side, because I kept on going to shows and, you know, supporting all the local bands, but I just hated sitting out there in the crowd because I wanted to get on back on that stage. And then years down the road, you know, now present today, we're here, and I met up with a guy named Austin, and he had a couple friends that he said, we're looking to restart a band. I'm like, okay, said Austin. He's like, I said, I know you from somewhere. And he hit me up on Facebook. He's like, yeah, I used to sing in Burning After with Dave. You know, you're Dave. I'm like, oh, you're Dave's old singer from Burning After. Oh, wow. You know, you were a great singer, man. I was actually really impressed. This is a couple years ago when I saw them playing with Burn After, and I was actually when I first saw him, I was impressed. I was like, wow, this kid, he's probably like 18 years old, 19 years old right here, and he's screaming his head off, and he's awesome. I'm like, wow. So then I automatically was drawn to that when he contacted me. I'm like, oh, he's an awesome singer. And he's like, yeah, I got some other guys, bass player, maybe guitar player. And it's like, would you be interested in doing something? I'm like, of course. And we got together. We threw around some ideas, and we eventually got the drums out there. And we actually I bought a unit where we practice at now, and I just went ahead and bought it, and I rented it. I said, let's just jam out here, see what happens. And we went through a couple different guys. We had one guy come out. He wanted to play guitar, and he didn't really work out. And then we had another guy. He wasn't keeping up the par. And then finally we found Nick, and we have Nick. Now, let me give you the rundown of the band first off. We have Austin, we have Nick, we have Alex, we have CJ, and we have me. And so Austin's of course the singer, Nick is the guitar player, Alex is the other guitar player, CJ is the other singer we have. We have a dual vocalist in this band. We have a screamer and a singer. So we have a dual vocalist in this band. And plus CJ does screamings too, backups. And currently we're actually still trying to get a solid bass player, but we have a buddy who's filling in. He learned the songs, and he's.
Yeah, I saw that you were still looking for a bass player. At least on your Facebook, I checked and saw that, and I was thinking, I'm like, man, with these shows coming up, do they have someone temporarily, or are they just going to play these shows without someone playing bass? Like, how is that going to work?
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, we thought about that at first, but now I'm kind of like, I'm like, no, I mean, we got to have that boom in the background because the bass is important, and we play in a A sharp, I believe, so it's kind of a low tune, but we want to keep it so it ain't like metalcore, but we could break down heavy, but then we could bring the rhythm into the sound, you could actually hear rhythm and stuff. Because when it's too low, it's just all muddy and stuff. If you try to play anything rhythm, with rhythm in it. So after that, we all got together, and Nick got into the band finally, and we really started to make leaps and bounds. Finally, we had a good guitar player, and two good tongue tied here, two good guitar players, and then we had Austin, CJ singing, and me on the drums, and we have actually a buddy of theirs named Danny. He's going to be filling in for us playing bass right now. And we were just practicing last night, going through the stuff, and he's doing great. So, we're definitely going to have a full set when we go out. That's not a problem. But we're still looking for a solid person to come, step into the ring with us.
Right. Now, all these guys that are in the band now, did you know them all before?
Well, Nick, I met from Dave. Nick was kind of like a guy I kind of showed up at the house one day with Dave. Dave knew him from the originals or 3-2-1. They hung out and stuff like that. He was there all the time, and of course I knew him as intern. That's how I knew him. But his name's Nick. So and I had to oh, we got a guy named Nick. He's coming toward the band. I'm like, who? Nick? He's like, and then I got there. I was like, intern.
That's an interesting nickname.
That was his old nickname. He has his big old grizzly beard now, so we're all messing with him, call him the Beard and stuff like that. Okay. We all pick nicknames for each other. Some of them nicer than the others.
Do they have a nickname for you?
Honestly, I don't know. It's probably asshole. What I mean?
That's nice. That's good.
Yeah, it's probably what it is. But we had this concept we're trying to do with the band. We want to have that whole metal factor. We want to have breakdowns, heaviness, speed, some blast beats and stuff. But then at the same time, we're going to have songs that are going to go from 360 around, and we're going to have Breaking Benjamin style stuff with with good grooves and softer, and a little more melodic stuff too. We're going to have that whole genre. We're going to have a big group. We want to be able to appease everybody. And the way we're doing it, it's sounding awesome. I was real surprised with it, the way it came out, because I was kind of skeptical. I was like, well, I like to make sure we do everything that's kind of we could play everywhere, and we could be everywhere too. We have the scene. We could go different scenes. We could go from playing the metal shows, and then we could go play with Hurricane Charlie and Burning Fear Verona, and then we could go play shows with Reading Theory and Dare Defy and stuff like that still too. So I mean, we're trying to get out there and kind of be that good middle.
That's awesome. I mean, that's a really smart approach too, because when I first heard the name of your band, Bloodlines, I was thinking like, oh man, these guys must be like super, super heavy. But I mean, it sounds like you do have some heaviness, but there's a little bit of diversity in there too, which is really cool.
But the way we took Bloodlines into the name, it was kind of like these are our blood we're putting into this band. We're going to put it out on paper, and we're going to do this. We're family. We're putting blood, sweat, tears in this band. And it kind of came along as Bloodlines, and we looked it up, and we said, oh man, it's crazy, because you know how band names are. They're hard to really. You think of something real cool, and you're like, oh, bet you it's Tuckin'. And we went online, we researched it, and it wasn't. We're like, oh, sold, man. This is an awesome name. We're going to take this. And so we made a logo. And now we're actually starting. I was just talking to somebody today about getting some merch made and stuff like that. So we're going to have some merch made. And we're actually debuting in the studio stuff right now, trying to get some demos recorded and stuff like that, so people can actually hear us. Because on our Facebook, we have no music up, of course, except for Nick playing some our small intro that we have. And it's him like.
Yeah. I mean, that's always the frustrating part, especially when you're first starting out and you don't have anything recorded. You want to go get booked, but at the same time, the club owners will be like, well, what do you sound like? Do you have any recordings? And if you don't, it's like, it's hard to like sell yourself on them. And, we certainly went through it, when we were first starting out. But, yeah, I mean, it's almost like, well, what do you do first? Do you play out live or do you record? But obviously, guys are playing out live. What are some of your plans going forward as far as recording? Have you started that process yet?
Well, right now we're talking about getting the drums taken care of. Like, do we want to program them? Do we want to do live drums? I'm all about live drums. I've done click tracking before, so that's I'm down with that.
Oh, me too, man. I feel exactly the same way when it comes to that.
So we talk about going up to throwing the money together and going to like the Studio 101, because they got a good recording program up there. Lydia Can't Breathe records their albums up there, and they sound great. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We recorded it. We actually did our first single there, Backstabber.
Oh, awesome. So yeah, I actually recorded stuff there before too, and it came out good. And I heard, Brandon is his name, right? Brandon.
Yeah,
I believe he's an awesome guy. He's very nice. He'll do anything for you to make your stuff sound the way you want it. And
yeah. And actually, our next recording is going to be at the Zone with Mark Brazel, which I know you've been there.
Oh, okay. Is that where I audition at with you guys?
It is. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, about a year ago when we were in between drummers, John actually was one of the guys who came and auditioned for us. And he came down. He hadn't really played with any bands for a while, and but he came down and he learned the songs pretty quickly and came down and jammed with us. And I mean, obviously, we ended up going with Jarrett, but John did a great job, and we really liked him a lot. And yeah, he was right there. and obviously, you and I got along right off the bat, not just being big music fans, but also being wrestling fans as well.
Yeah, wrestling, yeah. We are definitely. I remember, like, when I first put up that thing, I was having that WrestleMania party. You boasted up, so I think I just found a new friend. I'm like, yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm a big wrestling freak, dude. You don't understand.
Yeah. I remember. I remember at our most recent show that we saw you at. You had. You were like. It was like right after Roddy Piper passed away. You were there rocking the kilt as a tribute to the Hot Rod.
Yeah, because actually, yeah, he died like the day before that, a couple days before that, and then Dave had the CD release party over there that they had.
Yeah, it was up at the landfill saloon.
The landfill. Yeah, and I walked in and I started automatically. I'm a big guy. I got my hair's not as long as it used to be, but I got the beard and everything. I walk in, I'm a big guy, and everybody sees me in the kilt. They're like, what the looking over, and But the fact is, it turns so many heads. It's hilarious, and I have to wear it like out. Everybody's like, "Dude, you're gonna wear it to our first show." I'm like, "What?" I was like, "Dude, if I wear a kilt the first show, man, my drums are kind of in that area. People are gonna see my my other beater."
Oh man, that's a whole different kind of show.
The queen is in power. I have to. Remember, I told you that. I said the queen's always in power. I have to wear underwear.
Yeah. I don't think your wife would go for that. I seriously doubt it.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I mean, but when we got over there to the studio and I auditioned for you, man, I really had a blast with you guys. My computer at the time had a virus or something, and I couldn't use it. I had to go off Reverb Nation, and you only had so many songs on Reverb Nation. It was kind of, and I could only learn like 4 or 5 songs. I was like, I was kind of cramming stuff too with my work schedule and everything too.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Anytime you audition for something, and we were trying to tell everyone who came in, it's like, okay, well, here they are, trying to learn them as best you can. It doesn't have to be exact.
Yeah, because the songs have a lot of changes and stuff in it. I mean, they're groovy songs. I love the songs. I mean, I actually had a blast playing with you guys. I mean,
that's awesome, man. We had a great time jamming with you too, and yeah, I know we ended up going with another guy, with Jarrett, but we liked you, we got along with you, and it wasn't anything wrong that you did at all, especially for not having played in a while. So yeah, I mean, it ended up going with Jarrett, but it wasn't because you did anything bad or did anything wrong. You were great.
Well, that's always good to hear. You know what I mean? I had a chance, right?
Absolutely, you did a great job. Even though it didn't necessarily work out in the audition, not that you did anything wrong. It's just we ended up going with another guy. But I mean, I'm really proud of you for sticking with it and kind of getting your own thing going right now, and hopefully hopefully we'll be hearing a lot more from Bloodlines in the future.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like we just did another show actually here in Melbourne. Actually, we confirmed another show recently. We're actually going to play the day before Angel Vivaldi, the 16th. We're going to play at the Boondocks.
Look at you, man, booking shows left and right, man, just coming right out of the gate, going for it.
Yeah, so I mean, and we have a couple other things maybe online too, but that's I can't really say anything because we're not too sure about what's going on with it yet or not. But those are definitely 3 shows we have confirmed right now. The 2 in Orlando, and we have the one at the Boondocks here soon.
That's awesome, man. You guys are coming out swinging. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping we get out there and we get a good crowd and we get a good reaction. I'm really hoping for the best. You always said prepare for the worst and hope for the best. You know what I mean? I'm really thinking we're going to come out and people are going to really dig what we're doing.
Well, and the passion's there.
I'm putting a lot of effort to this, so.
Definitely, man. I mean, the passion's there. I mean, it sounds like you got. I mean, I don't know any of the other guys in your band, but but it sounds like you got a pretty good group of guys together. And
go ahead.
Oh no, I was saying, it definitely says a lot, for the amount of times that Dave has vouched for you, and based on what I hear from your other bands, that you have a way of kind of separating the business from the personal feelings as well, and I think that's going to be a very good asset because, people like. I mean, I think it's very tough because you get some guys who get so emotionally invested in it that they can't separate the business from the personal, that they can't maintain friendships. Even if the band doesn't work out for whatever reason, even if someone leaves, it's like you still maintain friendships with people. And I think that says a lot about your character. I think, and I think that goes a long way because honestly, there are a lot of guys out there who are very talented, but
very vain.
Yeah,
very vain. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I always say, yeah, I'm an awesome drummer, but there's always somebody better out there that would drum circles around me, no problem. I can name off a few people off that I know off the hand. Jake Hoagland from Vilify. That man he's a whiz on the drums.
Oh,
you know what I mean? He'll drum circles around me. He
is phenomenal. But I mean, like you said, I mean, I think it shows a lot of humility on your part, and I think that is a really good, refreshing thing to have because a lot of guys don't have that. And I don't care if you're the best player in the world. If you're a jerk, I won't want to work with you.
Exactly.
And it's that's one of those things. So I mean, it sounds like you're doing all the right things. You've got you've got a really promising up and coming band. Obviously, you guys are booking shows left and right, and you haven't even played out yet, which is amazing and awesome. And I definitely I'm definitely looking forward to coming out and seeing you guys one of these days, or possibly sharing the stage. I don't know, but I mean,
Oh yeah, definitely,
you never
man.
know.
I'm really hoping for that, man. That'd be awesome to get the stage with you guys, man.
I mean,
Because
yeah.
that could work out because we have that. You said we have that mixture of music that we could play with, with a lot of local bands around here, and we could really dip our feet to all different scenes and stuff. So we have a good in between.
Absolutely, and that's good. Having that versatility there, I think is, I mean, it's not only an asset. I mean, today's market, it's almost necessary. I mean, it's almost like a requirement.
Yeah, I'm really like, the kind of guy who's really laid back and chilled, and I'm always like the voice of reason. It seems like in some people, I could see like, some of my friends just arguing back and forth, just go in their heads, and I come up to, hey guys, kind of like Dr. Phil. What if you guys do this, And then like,
absolutely,
John, you're right.
Oprah.
It's like, John, you're right, man. Why are we doing this? I'm like, see, okay, Oprah, I just made them go better.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I had a friend that made that comment one time. He was trying to be a butthead, what I mean? And I was like, what? And then now I take it as a joke. I'm like, it's funny.
That's a good position to be in, though. Be that voice of reason, because you always get guys who feel passionately about stuff one way or the other. I mean, look, anytime you get a group of creative people together, there might be some butting heads here and there, or disagreements. But so, I mean, I'm telling you, man, being in a band is worse than dating. It's tough.
Yeah, in some cases it definitely is, because I mean, it's a struggle either way. It's hard. Sometimes it's a one-way street, and usually, marriage is, I think, you have the boss. Everybody knows who's the boss is. Sometimes, they you're married, I'm married.
Right, right, yeah.
They don't get what they want, man. Yeah. Look out.
If she ain't happy, you ain't happy.
Yeah. But it's great. I got a great wife, my wife Amanda. We've been married for about 3 years now. We got married on Halloween. We're big Halloween buffs.
Oh, very cool.
She's been by my side for most of these bands I've been in, and she's with me 100% with it. And good. I can't ask for a better lady in my life than that. I'm just gonna put down a record right now.
Excellent, man. That's a beautiful thing, man. I almost forgot to get into your early history there. How old were you when you started playing drums?
Ooh, that's a good question. I was probably about 10 or 11.
Oh, wow.
I was probably like in 4th, 5th grade, or a 4th, grade, something like that, or maybe, I forget what grade it is, but, what happened was my teacher made a phone call home one day, said, John is driving me nuts. I said, what's he doing? He's like, I'm just going to tell you something right now and make it solve this problem. If you don't buy that boy a drum set, for he could quit banging on my desk and in class, we're going to have a problem. And, and then like I've always, I really got into wanting to play drums from a movie, and it's a Tom Hanks movie called That Thing You Do.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There was that simple beat that do da da do da, just that simple little beginning of that song. I just thought it was so cool, just I could play it on my hands and stuff like that, and I started beating it all over the place. And I went to church, and we had a drum set at church, and after church I used to go in the back in there and play on the drum set, and the music teacher would hear me come in there and say, hey, are you playing drums, John? I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, I said, no, keep going,
there you go.
He's like, keep going, keep going, and so I'll show you some. He started showing me some stuff. He's like, you should really take lessons. You have a ability here. You could play drums. And then I had a friend, his brother was a drummer too, and he had this huge chrome cage drum set, kind of like mine now. Wink, wink,
Mm-hmm.
And he had this huge chrome cage double bass drum set. He played all kinds of Pantera style stuff, and man, he just wowed me. And his name was Damien, mm-hmm. and he was an awesome drummer. And man, ever since I saw him playing, he just going to town. And I begged my parents for a good couple years, until I got that drum set for Christmas one day. And man, that was I think I posted a picture actually on our Facebook of the Christmas Eve when I got it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a Throwback Thursday picture I put up on the band website a couple weeks back.
There you go. That's cool. It's funny that thing you do kind of inspired you to pick it up. Were there any other were there any bands early on that really?
All right, this is gonna be because we're doing an interview here. I'm gonna be straight, forward. It's kind of embarrassing here. I'm gonna go dig down in my childhood here. I was actually a big Hanson fan.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a big
those
Hanson
guys were
fan,
huge
man.
back in the day.
Those kids, back then I was a young kid too, and I was impressed because they were young kids my age or a little bit older than me maybe. But the drummer Zach guy in the band, I remember his name was Zach.
Yeah,
and he was a young kid playing drums, man. And I just thought that was so awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean you didn't find
like him, it's kind of it's embarrassing to say sometimes because
no, there's nothing wrong with that.
But I'm a man. I can say this, man.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I'll give those guys a lot of credit. I mean, especially being as young as they were, playing their own instruments, writing their own songs. And those guys are still doing their thing, like kind of on the indie circuit. They're not in like the major labels anymore, but they've kind of.
Yeah, I hear things about them. Yeah, every now and then you'll catch me maybe like playing like like a Hanson song, just remember.
Right, right.
Don't say that too loud, but
No. I mean, obviously not a heavy band at all, but certainly, I mean, they were talented kids, and
I have a very well music genre. I listen to everything from rap, country to death metal, Jimmy Bourgeois, Old Man's Child, death. I listen to it all, man. I have and that's the way I think a lot of people should be like. They shouldn't just classify themselves. I'm a metalhead, man. I'm this. I'm John McGinnis, man.
Yeah.
That's who I am. I love it all.
I love music.
Everybody. I love everybody. I love people. You know what I mean? And I like to get out and express myself. So what better way is to play drums for people that I don't know, but I love you anyways, guys. You guys are awesome. Thanks for coming here and seeing me. I appreciate this. It's a big spiritual thing for me sometimes. Yeah. Especially, even more now, since my father passed away, like I said, he was a big supporter of me. And like the first show I actually played without him was a county line show with Another Life Spared. And after my dad died. And I remember kind of like being upset before the show. My mom was out there, and I remember looking over to see my mom sitting there, and my dad's not there. Aww. So it was kind of like, it was a bummer. But he was there with me. I could feel him. I could feel him there with me. So definitely. I rocked out, and we killed it. And I had kids coming up to me want my autograph.
Oh, isn't that the best feeling?
It was just, it warmed me so much, man. It was the thing, Yeah, I mean, you have people will just come up to you and want to take pictures and autographs, and I'm like, hey, man, this is just like I'm just really filling in for the drummer, but I mean, I'll sign him anyways,
Still,
like, you're awesome. You guys are awesome, So I mean, awesome. I really impressed somebody. I felt like I was really making a. And plus, seeing those kids come up to you and like, wow, you guys are awesome. You could influence just the later, our new music. Maybe those kids one day will want to become a drummer.
Yeah, maybe they might come up to you someday and be like, hey, man, you inspired me to do it.
Yeah, maybe one day you'll just like, you'll be on VH1 or something like that, hearing behind music. Yeah, we'll be old guys on the couch and hearing about this new band came up. Yeah, when I was a kid, I heard this band up in Melbourne somewhere, and the drummer just impressed me so much. Holy, I'll probably have a heart attack and die because I'll die happy.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I obviously, I mean that's a cool thing. I mean, obviously, I'm very sorry to hear about your dad passing. Obviously, that's a horrible thing to go through. Was he a big? I was just saying, was he a big music fan or?
Yes, actually, he was actually a big blues, kind of like ZZ Top. He liked blues and hard rock. ZZ Top, Led Zeppelin. Classic rock. Actually, when he was actually dying, he told me, he said, "Can you get me music? I want to hear music." That's cool. I guess that's a thing when people know they're dying. They want to be soothed. They want to hear some music. So I got an MP3 player, and I loaded up all kinds of stuff for him. Just anything I could think of. Yeah, my dad actually liked a lot of the bands I like too. Like my dad was a big Korn fan.
Really? Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and he liked all kinds of other bands. He liked Slipknot, he liked all kinds of other things. Thought they were badass.
Nice. That's awesome to hear. Anytime that generation gap is broken down a little bit, I love hearing stuff like that.
Yeah. It's just cool because my dad is like, Dad, I want to go see so and so. Well, let's get some tickets and go.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I guarantee you, he's looking down. He's proud of what you're doing right now, man. That you're sticking with it.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So
he wouldn't be too happy if I just kind of just threw my drum set in the corner like it was for a while, because for a while there, me and Amanda, when I wasn't doing nothing, we moved to Iowa for a little bit. Iowa of all places. Everybody asked me why Iowa. Well, my wife had a OTA, occupational therapist job out there, making some big money. So we went out there, and I literally hated it, and I had to come back home. So she stayed out there for another week or so to finish her thing. I flew back home to get my job back, and that's when I started refocusing on the band thing here.
Oh, okay. Speaking of your job, what are you doing when you're not playing in bands?
Oh yeah, I'm throwing furniture around at Babcock Furniture and More, and a delivery guy, warehouse guy. Lift heavy stuff, set it down. It doesn't take a genius to do it.
It's a good workout though if you can get it. Yeah.
And other besides that, work. I go out and I ride my Harley around. I have a motorcycle I ride around,
nice.
And that's my other passion. I like motorcycles and stuff like that. So I'm a big motorcycle guy. And
I've always wanted to learn how to ride one of those things.
It's simple, man. You just go down the road and boom.
Definitely.
Just open it up. It kind of levels it out on its own. Like on Harley, my dad always said, when you ever get on one, you're going to find out that they kind of level out on their own. You just get speed, and they kind of just balance out. I'm like, and they sure enough, I can go down the road and take my hands off the bike, cruise, but don't let cops see that, they get your ass in trouble.
I wouldn't recommend taking your hands off the bike, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but that's my other passion. I have is motorcycles and stuff like that. I got my nieces and nephews. I got dogs. That's my family. And
cool.
I got Dave.
Yeah,
Dave is Dave. Like I said, we're going back to Dave. Dave's a big part of everything around here. Me and Dave. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have some gigs. If it wasn't for me, he wouldn't be fucking around here in some cases. Yeah. So we both collide, and we're here in this spot together, and we're taking, we support each other 100%. He actually just left, here at around 6:30 to go on tour.
Oh yeah. They already hit the road already, but it's one of those things. Dave's one of those guys where he just has a way with people, and certainly you and I wouldn't have known each other had it not been for him.
Yeah.
But he's just one of those guys. He has such a warmth about him and just an energy that he just draws people in. So it's no shock to see him doing what he's doing with Breathing Theory right now. And those guys are killing it right now. So I'm so happy for them.
Yes, they are making waves right now. If you don't know who Breathing Theory is, go check them out. That's to anybody listening. They are something else. They are making waves.
Absolutely.
So, I am totally proud of Dave. I can't be more thrilled. Seeing him at the House of Blues the other day when I saw you over there, seeing Dave up on the House of Blues stages, man. I was like, how many times have me and Dave been to House of Blues together to see other bands? Now I'm down here watching my brother up there play bass.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah, and he's hamming it up on stage all the time. I'm like, I love this guy.
Yeah, and he sees me down there. Of course, he sees the only guy down there in the crowd in a kilt. He's like, I see you. I'm like, yeah. Me and Nick are down there, trying to have fun. You can't mosh at over at House of Blues. They don't let you do that no more.
Dave's hilarious. One of my favorite guests here on the podcast. And for those of you listening, if you haven't heard Dave's episode, it's a long one. I know it's over 2 hours, but it's an entertaining one. Do yourself a favor and check it out, even if you'd never heard of him, because he's a character.
He is definitely.
Well, anyways, man, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and do this. I just have a couple other questions before we sign off here, which is I kind of ask everyone this, so I'm going to ask it to you. If you had to pick one, gun to your head, favorite drummer.
Ooh, man, got me with that one, huh?
Oh yeah.
I have to say, man, one of my favorite drummers of all time is definitely Dave Grohl. Grove. You know, I mean, he's just he is just a badass, and he just wails on him. And you know, I mean, I met Vinnie Paul and Dimebag Darrell and stuff like that from Damage Plan too. You know, Vinnie Paul, and he didn't know who I was. He looked dead at me. He's like, "You're a drummer, aren't you?" I'm like, "Yeah." How'd you know? He's like, "Man, I look at you, man. You beat the hell out of him." I'm like, "Sure do." He's like, "Keep it up, brother."
Wow, Vinnie Paul said that?
Yeah, I met Dimebag and Vinnie Paul. I met the whole Damage Plan crew.
Wow.
Actually, I actually literally, me and Dave saw Dimebag and met them about 3 weeks, maybe a month or maybe a month and a half before he was killed.
Oh my God!
So yeah, we were and he remembered who I was from Earth Day Birthday too, because I met him backstage. I actually had backstage passes because I knew the guys from Seven Dust at the time. I knew Morgan Rose and LaJohn, and we used to hang out. He got me backstage passes, so I was hanging out back there, and I met Dimebag that day. Got his autograph, and got all kinds of people autograph, and I had this piece of paper, you know, the little Damage Plan picture.
Yeah.
I had all signed. I just kind of tossed it in my drawer, and after I heard about Dimebag being killed, I went in my drawer and I pulled it out. I'm like, oh my God, I got his autograph. I forgot all about this, and I went and framed it right away, you know.
Oh, that's crazy, but
yeah.
I mean,
but definitely, I would say. I mean, it's a hard choice between Dave Grohl and Vinnie Paul, but Dave Grohl, I would say, definitely is my
both
top.
Excellent choices. I mean, you know, people don't talk about that because obviously he's, you know, with the Foos right now, he's up front. But I mean, obviously,
yeah, some people don't even know that some people don't even the newer generation of kids don't even know who Nirvana. He played for Nirvana.
Oh yeah,
I know In Bloom and stuff, but I didn't know he was the drummer of that band.
I would argue he was probably the best musician in that band. I mean, his drumming would just made that band even better than they were. In my opinion.
And his side projects he does too, like, you know, Probot.
Sure.
He did the Tenacious D Pick a Destiny album, and
right.
I think he did some of the first one too. I don't know.
Right.
But
I do think Dave is getting.
Things he's done.
Yeah, I do think Dave is getting a little bit overexposed lately. But I mean, obviously,
this whole broken leg thing, you know, he broke his leg, but he broke his leg on stage and kept freaking playing, man. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I give him props. He had a broken leg. He just get me a chair. I'm keep on playing, man.
Definitely. I mean, he's committed to it. He's all in. So, you know, you got to respect him for that. But yeah. So I mean, that's a good choice. And I guess last question: favorite wrestler?
Ooh, now my favorite wrestler is definitely or you want all time or current?
Well, we could do both. Give me both all time and current as well.
All right, I have to say, currently I am really into. I want to say, oh man, Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose is the man right now. I think he's like something else. He's just a badass.
Excellent choice, man. How about all time?
And I'll say my old one, which I met him, you know, I told you, is Roddy Piper, man. I met Roddy Piper over at Spooky Empire, you know, and I met him, and I said, Mr. Piper, how you doing? He took, man, how you doing, champ? And shook my hand. And I was like, I'm never going to wash this hand again. Oh, my God. You know?
Yeah, I remember you telling me that story, man. He just seemed like just a great person.
Yeah, man. So I have to say, definitely Dean Ambrose and Roddy Piper are my, like, you know, current and legend.
Right. Both excellent choices. Well, hey, while we're on the subject, how about favorite tag team?
Tag team, I really dig the Uzos. You know what I mean? Yeah, I really dig them. You know, they're kind of, I think they're kind of taking a break right now.
Yeah, well, I believe one of the brothers is injured. I'm not sure which one.
Oh, he is right now. Okay. So yeah, I missed that part. I kind of fell off there for a minute on some of that. But I really think Titus O'Neil and his partner is good. You know what I mean? Titus O'Neil, he is he doesn't get enough recognition, I think, honestly. You know what I mean? He's a great wrestler.
yeah, I agree. I mean, you know, Titus is great. I love the primetime players. He's you know, both those guys are great on the mic and in the ring.
Yeah, you know, I really like his when he comes out. Hoorah, hoorah, hoorah. I'm like, yeah, dude, right. That's awesome. What do you think about the Dudley Boys coming back, man?
I think it's great to see them get one more run. I loved what they were doing in TNA, but I'm glad to see them back in WWE for sure.
I actually thought about going to the Team 3D school over there in Orlando,
Really?
and doing the wrestling school. I actually looked up the price of it and everything, and the year.
Wow.
But I really wanted to go over there and talk to him more and see what the actual, the days, the schedule is and everything. Before I commit to something like that, I would love to, because I got my friend Jeremy, Jeremy Moore. He's a big wrestling fan, man, and he loves it. So, and he's like all into it. He got his little walk going on,
Yeah.
talks the talk.
That's awesome. I mean, is that something that you would still think about pursuing? I mean, that's a tough thing to make it in.
I mean, it's option, man. Because I'm 29 right now. I'll be 30 in January. I mean, a lot of people, if I was able to go to a school and like wow somebody and say, hey, you got something, man, you should keep going, I would definitely listen.
Yeah, I mean, you never know, and I mean, worst case scenario, you at least get to check out the school and get to meet them. I mean, if nothing else comes out of it, that's kind of a cool thing too, right? I mean, nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Yeah, I mean, just to go and like and like even meet the guys, Bubba Ray, and Devon, it'd be cool to just to meet them and learn a little bit from them and see how wrestling's fake, yeah, but those falls, those hits, those are real. I mean, some of them slaps on the chest. You see a Big Show come up and slap somebody on the chest, and you hear it, and you can hear it through your damn TV. Oh, it's fake. Yeah, let Big Show come up and fucking whack you one on the chest real quick and see how fake it is. Or let Mark Henry do a do with the belly slam on you, and see if you can take it.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's definitely a lot of things, but fake isn't one of them. I prefer to say it's staged. It's predetermined, but it's physically very real in many cases.
John Cena took that hit to the nose, from Seth Rollins.
Yeah, he did.
Messed his stuff up, man.
Yeah,
messed him up pretty good.
And kept going.
Kept going, and won. Predetermined win probably, but still, yeah.
Absolutely, man. I mean, like I said, I mean, obviously it's predetermined, but physically very intense, and you got to be a serious athlete to do that. I know you said that you had thought about training. Do you have? I mean, what is your athletic background, and that you could bring to that if you were going to go for it?
Well, I mean, I played football. I did do some like wrestling in high school. Who's texting me? And I did some stuff in high school. I played baseball and little league baseball for a while. I played football in high school, but then I didn't like football because I got tired of it. And people like, oh, tell me what to do and yelling at you. Like fuck this. I kind of left. And then I started playing in marching band, playing drums in marching band. So my brother played varsity football, so I go to all the football games, see my brother play, and I'll play the drums and stuff. So it worked out better that way. I was in marching band, so I got a little marching band in my history too.
Well, that's awesome, man. I wish you the best of luck with that. But yeah, before we wrap up here, is there anything else you'd like to say about Bloodlines, or anything you'd like to say about what you're looking for in a bass player, or anything else you'd like to plug before we sign off?
Yeah, definitely. We are still looking for a bass player. If anybody's wanting to contact us about that, feel free to hit us up on Facebook. You can find me. You can find me personally on Facebook. My name is John McGinnis on Facebook. Easy to find. McGinnis. So I mean, Bloodlines. We got these free shows coming up, the 12th. Yeah, I mean, check out Bloodlines, man. We're going to be coming out. We're going to hit the scene hard. We're going to come at you with all kinds of music, and we're going to come out there ready to play and ready to entertain and have a good time and hang out and see everybody's smiling faces out there at our shows. And so keep in mind, we have the Bombshells the 12th in Orlando, the 2-day festival. Then we have the 16th at the Boondocks in Melbourne. And then we have the 17th, Angel Vivaldi at the Haven.
There you go, man. Bloodlines is doing it big, man. Thanks again for coming on and just telling me about the band and about your history. And I wish you nothing but the best of luck with Bloodlines. And who knows, man? One of these days we might be sharing the stage, pretty soon. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, man. I hope we get to share a stage one day together too, man.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks a lot, John. I appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks again to John McGinnis of Bloodlines. What a really cool guy, and it's just a really unique concept for the podcast to interview a guy who's in a band that has yet to play their first show. Definitely check them out on their first couple shows if you get the chance. They've got a lot of really cool stuff coming up, and I'll post a link to their social media as well. Speaking of posting links to social media and promoting shows, I definitely want to take the time to address something that I posted on on Vertebreaker's Facebook regarding our last show. It was as some of you may know, I have a part-time job at Walt Disney World. I work in one of the restaurants there, and I'm not going to say what or where because it doesn't matter. But I decided to do a funny little thing, and something that I've done from time to time is like I recorded a little video, kind of promoting the show, and I at Epcot I actually had a video with myself and Mickey Mouse. It was just something, kind of fun and, something funny to do. I thought it seemed to go over pretty well. Kind of promoted the show in there, had Mickey in there, just kind of playing around. Again, it's probably not the most rock and roll or metal thing to do, but I'm just having fun with it. What really bothered me about that though was that for all the people who enjoyed it or who got the joke, who laughed at it. There was one person in particular, someone who's very close to me. I'm not going to say who this person was, but they said that they didn't find it funny and that they thought it was immature and childish and a tacky way to promote the band. And that kind of hurt because, again, it's one of those things, I'm just having fun. I don't take myself too seriously. And really anyone who is going to get on my case about that, anyone who's going to make fun of me about that or say bad things about me or the band because of that is someone who just needs to take a look at themselves and really take a look at their own insecurities. And, we're just having fun. Again, like we don't take ourselves too seriously. And yeah, maybe it's a little childish, maybe it's a little tacky, but it's funny. It's funny to me. And I think it's funny to a lot of other people. And, it is what it is. I mean, if you're going to be bothered by that, then, I don't know what to tell you because, I like to have fun and, someone who thinks that way is just, I don't know. I don't get it. That's just not fun to me. So whatever. I mean, people are going to think what they're going to think and they're going to say what they're going to say. And, I don't know. I'm just me. I'm just having fun. Life is too short to take yourself that seriously. You know what I mean? Anyways, as far as some upcoming events, this Sunday is actually not going to be a Vertebreaker show, but it's going to be something very different that I've done. About a year ago, I acted in this independent film. It's an independent short film. It was called Split Decision. I shot that with a bunch of people over at Full Sail University. Well, anyways, that short film is going to be part of the Enzian Film Slam in Maitland, Florida, which is just outside of Orlando. That is that film festival is going to be this Sunday, September 13th. Split Decision will be there. You can go check out some of the details and some of the pictures from that movie on splitdecisionfilm.tumblr.com. The writer and director Antonio Comunis is a really good friend of mine, also a musician. I definitely want to have him on the podcast one of these days. But yeah, definitely go check out Split Decision if you're in the Orlando area at the Enzian Film Slam. Should be a really cool independent film fest. Definitely as far as some upcoming Vertebreaker shows, our next one will be Saturday, October 17th at the Boondocks. We will be there with Seven Stone Riot, Detached, Emerge, and Best Supporting Actor. And the following Saturday, October 24th, we make our return to the Haven in Winter Park, Florida, which is just outside of Orlando as well. We will be playing the Haven with Ghost in the Attic and a few other bands that have yet to be announced. That show will be presented by Breakout Artist Management. Also, make sure you head over to support some of our friends over at alicore.com. That's ALIKOUR. That is the homepage of Alicore Productions. They're a great photography and video company. We will be among the bands featured in Alicore's first ever Central Florida local rock documentary. And if you head over to alicore.com, you'll find ways where you can help crowdfund the documentary. It should be a really cool thing, and hopefully this takes off and it'll provide a spotlight to not only Vertebreaker, but a lot of great local bands, including Soul Switch, Mechanism, Traverser, and Murderfly. And this will be the first in many of them. They're associated with WJRR, and it's going to be a really cool thing. So make sure you go and support those guys. And as always, make sure you follow me on Twitter at JackXConnor. Like me on Facebook at facebook.com/JackConnorMusic. Also, check out the band at vertebreaker.net. And if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, make sure you email me at jackconnorpodcast@gmail.com or tweet me with the hashtag Phoenix Report. If you're listening to this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, leave a comment, and go back and listen to all the other episodes. Thank you guys again for listening. This has been the Phoenix Report with Jack Connor on the twobadbrains.com.